I have never met David Icke in person, but I've interviewed him many, many times and always been honored to have him on, and he's taught me quite a lot. But really, David just shows us what is already in us, what we already innately knew, just weren't consciously focusing on. And I was really excited. I made the split-second decision last Wednesday while talking to David during a break to go to Phoenix this next Saturday where he's speaking, because he says he won't be back to the U.S. perhaps for several years. There's so many demands in Asia and Europe, and he feels like he's really woken a lot of people up here, and he wants to focus on Europe. And so I wanted to go, and I was invited by a lot of other people to go. Then my wife pointed out this weekend, she said, you know, you've got a wedding next Saturday that you've agreed to go to. And one of my daughters is a bridesmaid in it, so I'm going to go take part in that ancient human ritual of wedding. So I won't be able to be there, but I am sending Rob Dew and Aaron Dykes. So we're very, very excited about that. Also, I didn't mention last hour, Fall of the Republic is coming out the 21st, next Wednesday. And we're getting the biggest response ever to this. I want to thank everybody. Please go get the 3 different trailers that are up on the site. Easiest place to find them is click on the Fall of the Republic banner. Please send them out to your whole email list. Please post it on websites. We need this film to be the biggest ever because it breaks down the entire program. That said, going back to David Icke for the balance of the hour. David, some stations don't carry that first 5 minutes. You were getting into how people interface reality, just like we interface the internet through a computer. And then the system, the social engineers, they tend to try to engineer our mental focus onto just the computer itself, when really our larger mind and consciousness and who we are is accessing the computer, the 5 or the 6 senses.
Yeah, the what we call the 5 senses and the body mind and the brain, they are the computer interface that we use to go onto the internet, because this is a virtual reality that we are experiencing. And really, you know, it was only when I started to understand the nature of the reality we're experiencing that I could really grasp in a much greater way the nature of the conspiracy that we're experiencing. Because one of the things or a crucial thing that is imposed upon us, or what is suppressed, is the nature of the reality we're experiencing. You know, you can go around the world now, and you can go 24/7 watching television channel after television channel, hundreds of them, thousands of them. When do you ever see a program or an article in any newspaper or magazine that is asking this question? What is the reality we're experiencing? Who are we? What are we doing here? These big questions are never asked, because if you ask them, you start to get big answers, and the big answers go, whoa, I can see it now. The Matrix movie series was so accurate in its symbolism, and indeed more than that, accurate literally in many, many ways. And when the Neo character said in a computer simulation, this isn't real, and the Morpheus character said, what is real? If you're talking about what you can see, touch, hear, taste, then real is just electrical signals interpreted by your brain. And it is, because the prime level of this reality is a vibrational field, a vibrational construct. It's like the wireless internet. You know, I'm sitting here now. This hotel I'm in has the wireless internet. I'm looking around. Where is it? I can't see it. But if I tune this computer to the internet, out of the ether, it will pull a collective reality we call the World Wide Web. Now, our reality that we're experiencing is like that. These 5 senses decode vibrational information encoded in what we call light, in the photons of light, information. They turn it into electrical signals, they send it to the brain, and the brain decodes it into the reality that we think we're experiencing. Actually, it's not outside of us, it's inside of us. It's a holographic illusion. You know, if you say to someone, tell me about the internet, they'll say, well, it's graphics and websites and colors and words. Yes, it is, but only on the screen. that you're looking at. Everywhere else, it's electronic circuits, etc. Tell me about television. Well, it's moving pictures on a screen. Yes, it is, but only on the screen. Everywhere else, it's not in that form. And if you take information on a disk and you put it in a computer, it's just information. The computer reads that information and turns it into pictures, moving pictures, or whatever on the screen. That's what we're doing. Now, if you know that, Alex, because this is the knowledge that's passed along the top levels, the highest levels of the secret society network, and systematically kept out of the public arena, it means that you know that if you can manipulate the way people read reality, read information, you can get them to create a reality that suits your agenda. For instance, one of the things I did when I was researching some of this is I went to hypnotist stage shows to watch them at work. And you get people, they're stooges on the stage, and the hypnotist implants a belief into their brain, a program, in other words. Say he gives them a potato and he tells them, implants the belief they're eating an apple. What they do is they take a bite of the potato, which they should, shy away from, but to them it tastes like an apple. Why? Because when the electrical signal carrying the information of the potato hits the brain, because of the implanted program, it doesn't read that. It reads the information as if it's an apple, and so that's what the person tastes. Now, if you take that basic thing, which they can do so simply, these hypnotists, when they're working with people who are open to it, across the swathe of society, the 24/7 media, the education system, what passes for it, and all these sources of information, what they're doing is they're programming a sense of reality. People like Wolf Blitzer and all these people, they're hypnotists. They don't know they are. 90% of them don't. But they are implanting a belief system. They're implanting a program. And so people who accept that program then read reality to suit the program, and it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. This is a major level of how people are programmed to see the world in a way the system desires, and crucially see themselves in the way the system desires. I'm just Joe Public, little me, I've got no power. Like hell we have no power.
David, I want to add a point and get your response to it. To simplify some of what you're saying, we are not the computer. We're using the computer to access this larger system that manifests, just like our optic nerve manifests the three-dimensional world, or television, or our ears manifest what people are listening to now. It takes those sounds and decodes them. But instead, the television, the culture, the media, it is trying to boil it down to where we're only reactive, only receiving, and not directing our subconscious mind or our soul, our spirit in any way. We're becoming biological androids that are simply directed. Now, let me add something to that. As you point out, the elite know that archetypal symbols, different terms, different ideas, different colors, they're using all these different integrated systems to control us and to manipulate us, and they never want us thinking outside the box and seeing that larger paradigm, because the minute you realize there's something much larger outside, then their defeat is imminent, once that simple step can be made. But to expand on that, you notice how the social engineers, the eugenicists, the social Darwinists always say, we're a disease, we're an animal, we're worthless, we have no soul, we can't direct ourselves, we have no destiny, we don't have any power, we simply react. And that is their religion. And they always tell you every child is not special, humanity is not special, but animals are. The elite will make decisions based on what's good for the animals on the earth. They know that we're an incredibly powerful species. They know we have an amazing destiny. And the establishment want to control that destiny for themselves. They, in their own writings that they don't really widely publicize, but that are available publicly, as you know, admit that we are this incredible species and this incredible group of builders meant to have a destiny that we can't even imagine. And so they're trying to get a corner on reality and future development, trying to shut that down. And so that's why they're always telling us that we don't have any power and that we aren't effective and that we don't have some greater goal, and why we should obsess on our neighbors and on fashion and on what we look like and on our weight, when, as you've said, all this body is a earth suit that we are limitedly experiencing one tiny channel of the spectrum. Go ahead.
It is a tiny channel too, Alex. I mean, of the mass matter that mainstream science says exists in this universe, and far more does than they understand, I would suggest, that the electromagnetic spectrum is something like 0.005% of what exists in this reality, and visible light, which is the only frequency range that we can decode through the five senses through sight, is a fraction of the 0.005%. We're on a tiny holographic television station, and if we think that that's all we are, then of course we're being pulled into a very, very narrow band of a sense of possibility, sense of potential.